Hi, it's Olivia, and I'm excited to talk about what I read and watched in July because it was a pretty good month. At the end of last year, I asked myself the question, are self-help books helpful? And that's how my last video came to be. I read 17 self-help books to try and answer that question. That project just completely took over like the first half of this year because I became really invested and interested in learning more about the genre and doing my own research. So I've decided not to talk about those 7 books again in this video in depth because I spent so much time on them in the other video. Anyway, those books were Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. I think it's really insightful what she has to say as a therapist who is also seeing her own therapist. I'm not sure it resonated all that deeply with me though. And then I also read Mindset by Carol Dweck, which was kind of a letdown. Read Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. That was a really interesting read for me because it was thoroughly researched and just I completely related to everything she was talking about. Then I read The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown, Outliers, The Story of Success by Malcolm Gladwell, which I still hesitate to even call a self-help book because really this book is all about looking at what makes people successful, what makes people outliers, and specifically how it's not just talent and hard work, but it's also opportunity. It's where that meets opportunity. I also read Creative Quest by Questlove, and if you don't know, he is the drummer for the band The Roots, and surprisingly, just the other day, I was like, the timing was eerie, but just the other day, the founding member of The Roots passed away, and I think at a really young age, like in his 40s, so yeah. And the last of those 7 books was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which was a pleasant surprise. That book was published in 1936, and I feel like I understand why it's still popular. Then I read 2 romance books. One of them is a new favorite, and the other one was a bit of a letdown. Go Deep by Rilsey Adams and Love at First Bite by Alexandra Warren. Side note, I only just discovered Kindle Unlimited this year because I thought you needed the actual Kindle to have access to it. It is such a great place to find romance books, and Go Deep is the one that is a new favorite. I believe it's a novella. It's less than 200 pages, but this is a Friends to Lovers adult romance. This is the book that I will be using to prove that Friends to Lovers is superior. Yes, I said it. Enemies to Lovers is great. It is great stuff. But the chemistry that the characters have when it's Friends to Lovers is my favorite thing. It's like on top of the sexy, steamy scenes, there's something so sweet and much more intimate to me to the Friends to Lovers stories. I just really adore it, and this story was, I love the plot. Our main character, Nevaeh, writes erotic romance, and ever since her breakup, like I think the previous year, she's needed a little bit of inspiration, if you know what I mean. And her best friend is right there. You know where this is going. You know where this is going. And it was great. The other one I mentioned was Love at First Bite. And this started out great. Like the first third of this, I was so excited thinking about how much potential it had because it was a bigger story. I think it was just under 300, and I was so used to all these like shorter novellas on Kindle. But it just started getting weird. At some point I paused and I thought, what happened? I don't know why the main character, I couldn't really follow why she was feeling the way that she did, and then there was this weird drama with both of the characters' moms. It like started like this, and the book ended like that. Sorry if it's getting dark or anything too. I'm trying out some different seating, and it's sunset, so you know, the light is never in my favor. The other book that I read was Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. The movie Annihilation came out at the very beginning of 2018, and I've talked about how I had seen, it was a different scenario for me seeing that movie because it was an early movie screening that I saw that at, and I didn't know what I was watching. I didn't know, I hadn't heard of the book, I didn't see a single trailer. I had no idea what I was seeing when I sat down to see that movie. And ever since then, and I've rewatched it now several times, I love that movie more and more. The whole atmosphere of the movie is so just in its own world, and the final act is just like hypnotizing, and the music that goes with it. I can talk about that movie for ages. I think I struggled reading the book because I was trying to separate it from the movie. I'd already seen the movie, but once I finally got past like the first 40 pages, I was able to picture it as its own story. This is not a book that gives you answers, and I'm sure it probably leaves a lot of people unsatisfied. I really liked not having the answers to things in this book. And I love thinking about the book and the movie. It is a short science fiction, I want to say slash thriller horror, because there are definitely scenes where the imagery and just things that are startling, like that's the vibe I get from it and from the movie. There is this zone, Area X, that is like expanding. They don't know what exactly is going on inside of it, and every expedition that they send in there, no one comes out. And except for our main character's husband, the expedition he was on, all the members just like showed up back home mysteriously, and then they fell ill. And it's about our main character going into Area X. So that's it for the books, but I really wanted to talk about this movie that just came out a few days ago, and there is not a single soul that I know who has also watched it, which reminds me of why I started this channel. So hopefully there's someone out there that can talk about this too. The movie is called Yes God Yes, starring Natalia Dyer. She played Nancy in Stranger Things, and this is a coming of age like sex comedy. And it's about this girl who is kind of exploring her sexual desires also in her more conservative environment, and she goes on like this Catholic school retreat. And I honestly really enjoyed this movie. I like that they told this story, because I'm sure that there's other girls out there that can relate, but also it was just entertaining. I think that Natalia did a great job. I just thought this was really entertaining and definitely had its funny moments, and I just wish I knew of other people who have seen it. And also, this just came out today. Actually, as I'm filming this, I was chatting all about Black is King, which just dropped on Disney Plus by Beyonce, and it is just as beautiful as I expected, if not more so, because I am just absolutely in awe of how many different outfits and looks and hairstyles and sets that this showed, and they're all so beautiful and intricate. I just kept looking at it and going, this is so pretty, this is so empowering and beautiful to look at. One more thing, I've just been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender a lot because it's finally on Netflix and brings me so much joy. But the past episodes that I just watched, Kyoshi was so epic. I can't get over just how powerful she was. The conflict between her and, was it Chin the Conqueror or something? That episode was just so funny because they're trying to prove that Kyoshi didn't kill him. And then she kind of just pops in, shows her power, and then she goes, yeah, I did it, and I'll do it again. I love her. So I feel like I'm talking in the darkness. It's time to wrap things up. I would love to know your thoughts on anything that I talked about, and I will see you in another video. Bye.